Welcome to Vator Box. I'm Bambi Francisco.
And I'm Ezra Royman.
And this week, once again, we have Raj Kapoor. He's a managing director at Mayfield Fund, which is a Silicon Valley venture firm managing $2.8 billion. This week, we're taking a look at HearPlanet, which is an iPhone app which helps you discover the world around you.
I'm Steve Ekman, the CEO of HearPlanet, and I'd like to introduce you to our application, our platform. I'd like to lead off with a little video that we produced that'll give you an idea, a little demo.
Imagine being able to use your iPhone as a tour guide to the world. Go to HearPlanet.com, type what you want or where you are. You can get a map and hear all about it.
Alcatraz Island is located in the middle of California's San Francisco Bay. In 1868, the island became a military fort and later a military prison.
You can even call for reservations. The new HearPlanet on Apple's iPhone.
Okay, so not only can you search for anything in the world using HearPlanet, but it's also geolocated. So it'll geolocate where you are, and whether you're driving or you're shopping or you're seeing the sites. HearPlanet brings you audio on all the locations around the world. We're basically your audio discovery device directly to your cell phone.
I thought it was missing he was missing the problem statement, which I like pitches that start off with the problem statement. But what I did like was that he grabbed you right off the bat with that video.
It's an impressive commercial for any startup to be throwing out. And of course, Apple's not a bad company to be associated with either.
Oh, yeah, and being on the Wall Street Journal with Apple, you know, that's great advertising.
Good way to catch the attention.
Yes, and then he actually has some real usage because 500,000, although not the biggest number of downloads, and you can, but at least a start. That you've got a fair number of people who are curious enough about the application to take a look at it.
Yeah.
That's a good sign.
But still not, you know, I mean, it's a tour guide. It's you know, somebody who wants to be educated, which I love. I mean, I think that's great to have that in your pocket. But how often do you have to, you know, say, pass by Alcatraz and be like, oh, I really need to know what Alcatraz is all about?
Yeah. I think it really hits. It's targeting the person in vacation mode versus I'm walking around my town and I want to.
Then he could have said that there are more people traveling now for work, there are more people who are transient, there are more opportunities for you to really learn what's around you, and more people want to be educated.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I agree there's a traveling aspect. I also think there's kind of a Bing aspect where every morning you get that picture, and you can kind of cruise around the picture and you learn things about things that maybe were obvious.
Because you know I'm addicted to
Bing. Yeah, and you love that thing. And so I think the idea here is potentially what you could have in this app is learn about your environment, learn about the history of where you are.
That's great.
I mean, the really big idea that I've seen now a lot of startups that are attacking this new thing called the geoWeb, which is that everywhere on this earth there should be some web content that's associated with the lat long of wherever you are.
Sure.
In some cases, it could be queue information if you're in a line. In some cases, it could be information around the historical significance. It could be about the 3 people that you knew that just came there yesterday to do that. So the exciting thing is that the geoweb is happening. This is one of N companies that are going after the geoweb in a way that people understand from a travel perspective. It's just the audio guide format. You know, people are used to audio guides, so you kind of get it. You put your phone up. There's not a lot of leap of faith that's there if you're on vacation. I think it's a leap of faith. If you're just walking around town, it's a different habit to pick up your phone and start listening to what's around you.
Right. So you're talking about the novelty there, and I do agree. There's a number. This is about discovering the world around you, and I've done enough interviews here at Vator News to know that there's a number of companies trying to do that, whether it's Aloka trying to help you discover the people or the places around you, or Aha Mobile trying to discover the traffic conditions around you, or Spreezio, which is, and Spreezio, Loop. But what they're doing is, and what I think is novel, is that it is a different, they are trying to do that, is trying to help you discover what's around you, but from an educational, you know, travel perspective.
From the Lonely Planet to your ear.
Lonely Planet, exactly.
But I think that you're going to have this is going to have to be a content business as well. And so I think the other piece of this, not just the use case, is the quality of the content. And it's not easy to create high-quality content in the volume you have to create it to be everywhere.
The tolerance for a user is extremely low. You know, if you come up to a page that has crappy user-generated content, you just click on. Here, you've got your phone to you, and you're listening to someone talk for 20 seconds about something pointless. You really will get annoyed. You won't use it again.
So you're talking about the challenge right now. Their challenge is in getting that content. I believe they have about 250 million articles, and most of them they get from Wikipedia. They're going to have about 250 million, and I can't say who they're getting that from, but they're not using user-generated content. This is going to be from,
higher quality.
Yeah,
it's going to have to be higher quality,
especially if you're paying for it. Yeah. It's a paid app. That's my assumption.
Right. So so help him out here. How do you think he should get content? Who do you think he should be partnering with?
Well, I would do two things. One, I would potentially reduce. I don't know how you do this. Is there a way to reduce the amount of content you need by maybe focusing on certain geographies and not over marketing? Yeah. Maybe one of those things you gotta go like this. Maybe you do New York and San Francisco or Paris, a few places where there's an acute need and there's probably a lot of tourism. If we believe that's going to be the killer app, and you really nail those places. And you begin to build a really nice user experience and win something versus lots of little pieces and the checkerboard of lots of places.
Yeah, I mean, the challenge here, like in any app business, is going to be how are you going to win relative to the increasing number of competition that's going to come on there. And there's either two paths. One is that you take the proprietary content. This is content you can't get anywhere else, and therefore people will seek it out, like a Zagat's, as an example. Or you go after that whole network effect. This is going to be the largest database. Some of it's going to be noisy because it's user-generated, and it's going to bring in more users, and you go for that volume approach. Yeah. But then it's harder to have the paid model that's there. So that's one of the challenges. Which direction do you end up going with this company?
Do you think you should partner with companies that provide local services? Because again, we're talking about discovering what's around you, and you think that's a good monetization?
I mean, I almost think HearPlanet in a way is somewhat of a limiting concept. So I might expand it and say it's sort of like your local guide. And I know we have lots of companies like that. Maybe he wants to be very focused, but I think it's audio, textual, potentially video. There's lots of ways of getting this content.
The geo browser.
Yeah, it's the geo browser.
Going deep into that.
And really create a full experience, an immersive experience that is all about bringing you all the things you need based on where you are at this moment.
See, I think there's a company that's trying to do that. It's called Google.
Yes.
And so I think it's actually better, I would say, for them to focus on a strategy of let's make the best quality informational guide we can about places. That the one that you would have picked up Lonely Planet or Frommer's, that audio guide if you're in the Vatican, this is an alternative to that. If you try to be all things to all people as a startup like that, there's a lot of competition there.
Okay, business model. How should they make money?
I think, in this case, I think Raj is right. It feels like a pay, at least for the initial while, where in some cases free makes sense. I think this is probably paid. I think there's a kind of consumer if it's a good experience. You probably got to get a little trial or something so people get a feel for it. But I think there's a kind of consumer that will pay for this content.
Do you think he could advertise as well as Clueless, the company that we talked about during the last Vator Box?
So I think the challenge on advertising, so this is the problem in general for app companies. My advice is that you've got to get out of just relying on the App Store. The App Store is not a great platform to market. You've got to go direct. And direct doesn't mean expensive advertising budgets. So the question is, how are you going to get there? I think this isn't about, I'm going to download HearPlanet once and I may use it forever. It's, you're going to get a purchase that's going to be an impulse because you're sitting at the Vatican and you really want information on it, and you'll pay $4 instead of 99 cents because you want that information right away. So they should be having 1,000 applications that are dependent on each city that you just download because of the impulse that you're there.
Sure. I think that's a great tip. And I think that you also need to get the word out, so you got to find marketing partners. So I don't know if it's airlines or if you call Dave Sifry and do something with Offbeat Guides, but you got to figure out a way to kayak, whoever it is, you have to get out there, you got to get people to know about this product.
I think they're doing something with Lonely Planet already.
Trip it.
Yeah.
Okay, last question, really quickly, Raj, again, would you take a look at this company? Or what would it take?
So this is a theme we've been looking at, is the geoWeb and what's going to happen. So from that perspective, absolutely. Again, I think the things that I'd want to dig into with the CEO are how are you going to acquire customers outside of the App Store? How are you going to get the high quality content? And what's your positioning in the long run? But it's worth a look.
Okay, great, Stephen. So get those answers right, and you can email Raj.
Over Vader.
Over Vader. Okay. Raj, thanks again.
Thank you.
Ezra, thanks as always. You've been watching Vator Box. I'm Bambi Francisco. We'll see you next time on Vader News.